A single decision, one shocking entrance, and suddenly, everything in Port Charles is about to explode. No one expected him to show up, no one wanted him there. But Sonny Corinthos is about to walk straight into a storm, and this time even he may not be able to control what happens next. Because when grief turns into rage, and rage turns into revenge, there may be no coming back. And the most terrifying part, it won't be Sonny who pays the price first. It will be someone he loves. The tension is already boiling across Port Charles as Laura Collins stands in front of the press, forcing herself to say words she never thought she would say. Words that cut deep, words that echo across the entire city. She publicly turns against Sonny, and even Jason Morgan. The cameras flash, the reporters lean forward. And Laura's voice, steady on the outside, hides the storm raging within. Because this isn't who she is, this isn't what she believes. But sometimes, survival demands sacrifice. And Laura knows exactly who she's trying to protect Port Charles from, Jen Sidwell, a name that now carries fear in every corner of the city. As the press conference ends, Laura steps away, her shoulders heavy, her eyes distant. The guilt settles in immediately. She didn't just make a political move, she made a personal betrayal. And somewhere deep down, she knows Sonny will feel it. But standing beside her, almost enjoying the moment, is Ezra Boyle. There's a smugness in his expression, a quiet satisfaction, because this is exactly what he wanted. He leans in, his voice low but sharp, reminding Laura that she made the right call, that she followed his guidance. But Laura doesn't fully agree. In fact, she may admit something shocking, that Sonny pushed her into this, that Sonny forced her hand. And suddenly the blame begins to shift. But is that the truth? Or is Laura just trying to convince herself that what she did was necessary, because deep down, she knows this isn't over, not even close. And things are about to get even darker, because the next stop is a funeral that should have been about mourning, but instead is about to become a battlefield. Marco Rios's funeral. The air is heavy, the silence thick. Grief fills every corner. Laura arrives with Ezra. They're not alone. Jordan Ashford is there, Isaiah Gannon is there, and every single person present knows one thing. This isn't just about saying goodbye, this is about power, this is about fear, and most of all, this is about what comes next. Isaiah watches Jordan closely, too closely. There's concern in his eyes, real concern, because Jordan is walking a dangerous line. She's deeper in Sidwell's world than anyone is comfortable with. And Isaiah can see it. He pulls her aside. The moment is quiet, but intense. He asks her directly, is she in too deep? Is she losing control? But Jordan doesn't flinch. She believes she has everything handled. She believes she's still in charge. But Isaiah isn't convinced. Because when someone like Sidwell gets involved, no one stays in control for long, and as they stand there, tension rising quietly between them, something unexpected happens. Something that shifts everything. Because across town, Sonny Corinthos is getting ready, dressed in black. Calm, focused, and completely unshaken. Despite everything, he's made a decision. A bold one, a dangerous one. He's going to the funeral, and not just quietly, not in the background. Sonny plans to show up and shock everyone. Standing nearby is Rick Lansing, watching him carefully. There's hesitation in Rick's voice. Doubt. He asks Sonny the question no one else dares to ask. Is this really a good idea? Because walking into that funeral means walking straight into Sidwell's territory. But Sonny doesn't hesitate. To him, this isn't reckless. This is necessary, because Sonny knows something that others don't seem to understand. He didn't kill Marco. He's not responsible, and if Sidwell believes otherwise, then things are going to spiral even further out of control, so Sonny sees this as a peace offering, a chance to show respect, a chance to calm things down. But Rick isn't convinced. Because sometimes, showing up is the worst thing you can do. And this might be one of those times. But Sonny has already made up his mind. There's no turning back now, and when he walks through those doors, everything changes. The room goes still, every conversation stops, every eye turns. Because Sonny Corinthos has just entered the funeral, and in that moment, grief turns into something else, something darker, something dangerous. Because across the room, Jen Sidwell sees him, and the reaction is instant. There's no gratitude, no understanding, no acceptance, only anger. Pure, controlled, explosive anger. Sonny takes a step forward. Calm, respectful, trying to show that he means no harm, trying to show compassion, but Sidwell isn't interested. Not in compassion, not in peace, not in anything Sonny has to offer, because to Sidwell, Sonny's presence is an insult, a provocation, a direct challenge, and the tension in the room becomes unbearable. People shift uncomfortably, no one knows what's about to happen, but everyone knows it won't be good. Sonny tries to speak, to explain, to make it clear that he had nothing to do with Marco's death. But Sidwell doesn't want to hear it. He doesn't care about the truth, because grief has already twisted into something else, something fueled by anger, something driven by revenge. And then, Sidwell delivers a warning, a quiet one, but far more terrifying than shouting, because this isn't about the moment. This is about what comes next. Payback. And not just against Sonny, but against everything Sonny cares about. And suddenly, the threat becomes real, because Sonny may not be the one in danger, his family is. And somewhere else in Port Charles, someone else is already starting to feel that fear, because Carly Spencer is about to find out what Sonny has done, and when she does, everything inside her will tell her the same thing. This was a mistake. A huge mistake. One that could cost them everything. Because Carly knows Sidwell, she understands how men like him think. And showing up like that, that's not peace. That's escalation, and as Sonny tries to defend his decision, Carly won't be convinced. Because she's not thinking about strategy. She's thinking about their children, about the people who could become targets. Because when revenge starts, it doesn't stop where you expect it to. And Carly's fear, it's not just emotional, it's real, and it's growing, because this isn't over, not even close. And as the storm begins to build, another confrontation is quietly unfolding elsewhere, one that may seem smaller, but could have just as big of consequences. Because Nina Reeves is reaching out to someone she once trusted. Curtis Ashford. She wants to fix things, to rebuild what they lost. After everything that happened with Portia Robinson, there's distance between them, tension, unresolved emotions, but Nina doesn't want that anymore. She needs someone she can trust, someone she can talk to. Because the pressure she's under is becoming too much. And one name keeps coming up, Jack Brennan. Nina is feeling trapped, controlled, pushed into a situation she doesn't fully understand. And part of her just wants him gone, out of her life. For good. But Curtis hears that. And something in his expression changes. Because wishes like that, they have consequences. And Curtis reminds her of something chilling. Ross Cullum. A man who was almost erased. Almost killed. Right there on Pier 55. And suddenly, Nina's words don't feel so harmless anymore, because in Port Charles, people don't just disappear by accident. And Curtis has a warning, a serious one. Be careful what you wish for, because sometimes, those wishes come true, and when they do, you may not be ready for the outcome. Nina is left shaken, thinking, questioning everything, because maybe, just maybe, she's already gone too far, and as tension builds across every corner of the city, there's one more secret waiting to be revealed. One more truth that could change everything, because Alexis Davis is about to come clean, and what she has to say might be more emotional, more devastating than anyone expects. But that's only the beginning, because the real fallout is still coming, a confession, a surgery, and a family on the edge of breaking, because just when things couldn't get more intense in Port Charles, another emotional storm begins to rise. And this one, it cuts straight to the heart. Because Alexis Davis is barely holding herself together, there's a heaviness in her every step. A quiet fear she can't shake, no matter how hard she tries. She's been strong for so long, too long, and now, that strength is starting to crack. Because standing outside that hospital room, waiting for news about her daughter, Alexis isn't just worried, she's terrified. And not just because of what might happen today, but because of what already happened before. Because Alexis knows what it feels like to lose a child, she never thought she would live through that nightmare, never imagined she would have to bury her own daughter, but she did. When Sam McCall walked into that hospital, trying to save another life, no one thought it would be her last day. No one thought that act of love would end in tragedy. But it did. Because Cyrus Renault made sure of it. And that memory, it never left Alexis, not for a second. So now as she stands here again, with another daughter in danger, that fear comes rushing back stronger than ever. Because this time, it's Molly Lansing Davis on that hospital bed. And Alexis can't stop thinking the same thing. What if history repeats itself? What if she loses another child? And for the first time in a long time, Alexis can't keep it all inside. She breaks. And when she finally opens up, it's not to a doctor, not to a lawyer, but to someone who understands fear in a very different way. Cody Bell. Cody is there, waiting, just like her, hoping, just like her, because Molly matters to him too. And when Alexis starts to speak, the words don't come out perfectly, they come out raw, emotional, real. She admits something she hasn't fully said out loud before, that she's scared to even hope, because hope, it's dangerous. Hope makes the fall hurt even more, and Cody listens. Really listens. Because he knows that feeling, that helplessness. That waiting, that silent panic that grows with every passing second. And for a moment, they're not just two people in a hospital, they're two people holding on to the same fragile thread, waiting for it not to snap. But inside that hospital room, a different kind of tension is building, because Molly isn't alone. Christina Corinthos Davis is right there beside her, trying to be strong, trying to be supportive, trying to say all the right things. But Molly isn't in the mood for perfect words. She doesn't want a speech. She doesn't want reassurance. She wants something else, a distraction, something to take her mind off what's about to happen. Because when you're about to go into surgery, sometimes the fear is louder than anything else. And silence only makes it worse. So Molly tries to shift the conversation, but what starts as a distraction quickly turns into something else. Something more personal. Because Molly notices something that's been bothering her. And she finally says it out loud. Christina. And Jacinda Bracken, Molly questions it. Questions how close they've become, questions why Christina seems attached. Almost too attached. And suddenly, the air in the room changes. Because Christina wasn't expecting that. Not now, not here, and definitely not from Molly. At first she brushes it off. Tries to downplay it. Says it's nothing, just a friendship, but Molly doesn't fully buy it. Because something feels different. Something feels off. And when Molly pushes just a little more, that's when the tension cracks open, because Christina doesn't like being questioned, not like this. Not when she's already dealing with so much. And suddenly, what was supposed to be a light distraction turns into a quiet argument. Nothing explosive, nothing loud, but sharp enough to hurt. Because underneath it all, there are deeper issues, unspoken frustrations, things they haven't fully dealt with, and they start to surface, bit by bit, word by word. Molly points out something else. Christina's behavior, the way she interferes, the way she inserts herself into situations that don't always involve her, and that hits a nerve, because maybe, just maybe, there's truth in it, and Christina knows it, but instead of admitting it, she pushes back, defends herself, and for a moment, it feels like they're drifting further apart, right when they should be coming together, right when they need each other the most. And that's what makes it even more heartbreaking, because this might not just be about surgery. This might be about everything that's been building between them for a long time. And as that tension lingers in the hospital room, outside, the fear continues to grow, because Alexis isn't the only one feeling it. Everyone is. Every second that passes without news feels heavier. feels longer, feels unbearable. But just as that pressure reaches its peak, elsewhere in Port Charles, another storm is quietly gaining momentum. Because Nina can't shake Curtis's warning, his words echo in her mind. Be careful what you wish for, and suddenly, everything feels different. Because Nina starts to think about what she said. About wanting Jack Brennan gone, about wishing he would disappear, and then, she remembers Ross Cullum. What happened on Pier 55, how close he came to being erased. And a chilling thought crosses her mind. What if wishes don't stay wishes? What if they turn into actions? And what if she's already part of something bigger than she realizes? Because Nina knows something isn't right. The pressure, the manipulation, the feeling that she's being pulled into something dangerous, something she can't control, and for the first time, she starts to question everything. Because maybe Curtis wasn't just warning her, maybe he was trying to protect her, but the question is it already too late? And as Nina stands there, caught between fear and uncertainty, another realization begins to form. Because maybe, just maybe, this isn't about Brennan at all. Maybe her wish, her real wish, has something to do with Willow Kane. And if that's true, then the consequences could be even worse. Because emotions like that, they don't stay hidden forever, they come out, one way or another, and when they do, they tend to destroy everything in their path. And just when it feels like things couldn't get more unstable, we're pulled back to the funeral, because what started as tension is now turning into something far more dangerous. Because Sidwell hasn't forgotten, he hasn't calmed down, he hasn't accepted anything Sonny said. If anything, Sonny's presence made everything worse. Because in Sidwell's mind, this isn't over, this is just the beginning, and somewhere in that moment, a decision is made. A silent one, a dangerous one, because Sidwell doesn't need to act right away, he can wait, he can plan, he can strike when it hurts the most. And Sonny may not see it coming, because right now, he still believes he did the right thing, he still believes he can control the situation, but Carly knows better, because she can feel it. That shift, that danger, that invisible line that's already been crossed. And her fear is growing stronger by the second, because this isn't just about Sonny anymore, this is about their family, their children, the people who could become targets, and Carly knows, when someone like Sidwell promises payback, he delivers, and not in ways you expect, and not when you're ready. And as the pieces begin to fall into place, as secrets surface, as emotions boil over, one thing becomes clear: Port Charles is heading towards something big, something explosive, something that could change everything. Because between Sonny's bold move, Sidwell's silent threat, Nina's dangerous thoughts, and Alexis's overwhelming fear, the stage is set for heartbreak, for conflict, for consequences no one can escape. But here's the real question. When everything finally explodes, who will be left standing, and who will lose everything? Because in Port Charles, every choice has a price. And this time, that price may be higher than anyone is ready to pay. So tell me this. Do you think Sonny made a fatal mistake by showing up at that funeral, or was it the only move he had left? And if Sidwell goes after someone Sonny loves, who do you think will be the first target? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you don't want to miss the next shocking twist, emotional fallout, and daily General Hospital spoilers, make sure to subscribe. Because the drama in Port Charles, it's only just getting started.